So I want to say something. So first of all, I don't know if everybody else is like this, but I get an absolute kick out of your intros, and you have a cool, like you've developed this cool personality when you do the intro part, and the
Oh no.
you have, trust me,
Okay.
I've seen you develop over time, like just in a couple of years,
I've
you
seen you
know.
grow from a child.
Well, remember when we were doing the podcasts, even like, when we started kind of doing them more often or talking more, over
Oh yeah.
video and over the phone and stuff like that. Like, just the progression over time is, and then you cutting in all these cool intros and stuff like that. Your creativity is cool. I think you're using a drone for part of it or something.
Yeah.
That is sweet. Like, it's cool. And the little car, so the
That
airplane
was way
thing.
harder than it looks.
How did you
That
do
was
that?
super hard. It was like, so there was an After Effects script where you could like uh, place a map and then make the map three-dimensional and then plot points on it, and then like an algorithm had to take another image. It was really hard. And then I ended up fucking up because when I was flying, I was supposed to the plane was supposed to fly into Pittsburgh, but it flew into like West Virginia or something, but nobody caught it, so I don't care.
um it was freaking hilarious. uh but you are giving way too much credit to the rest of the people involved in this. You are certainly the leader of this thing. And at the beginning, you said the podcast did I just want to point this out for people listening. The podcast did this, the podcast did that. George does it all. And even if he doesn't do it all, it's his idea, and we're pitching in sometimes to help a little bit. But like all of the meetups, all of these videos, this setting up, just what we're doing right now, to, setting up all the charities, putting yourself through all that bullshit that you have to go through. um so I want to point that out, that I am like,
I mean, I appreciate it,
I'm
but I still
stoked
think
that you
I
got
think it's a
this.
team effort. Like half of the stuff that we know, like half of the information we have, we wouldn't have if it wasn't for people like Chris or Matt or
Hmm.
Mark or whatever. So I mean, like I feel like it's still a very much a team effort.
Lots of people chip in and do cool things and say cool things, and we are definitely a team. But when it comes to the person that's at the front of this and like doing all this stuff, like, the credit goes to you. And I just wanted to
Oh, I appreciate
point
that.
out that like you do deserve that painting. Not like it's mine to give or something, but like, I'm not shocked that he gave it to you and that was the end result of it, because
I was.
you deserve it. Yeah, I
Dude,
could
when
tell.
he pulled out that FedEx box, I was like, "Oh, great, another sketch." I was, what kind of sketch is this? Oh, it's
It's
on board.
origins.
Holy shit!
And then
What was
what?
crazy was getting that thing home, because like immediately after that interview, he's like, "Let's go out to dinner." I was like, all right." He's like, "Here, have the painting," and he just hands it to me, and I'm like, "What the fuck? What am I supposed to do with this?"
Yeah.
And I put it in the trunk of my car, and I'm just driving around one of the secret paintings in the trunk of my car. And then like flying at the airport, like I had my backpack, but then I had this painting. And luckily, like our flight was only three-quarters full. So when the plane took off, I went up to one of the stewardesses and I was like, "This is a very expensive painting. Where can I put it where it's not going to get dinged up?" And they had to move shit out of the overhead compartments. So I had one whole overhead compartment to myself, and they put it right there. And then they moved
Damn.
people and they put me in a row by myself under the overhead compartment.
What?
Yeah,
What airline is
Rachel,
this?
it was dude, it would kill you, man. It was Frontier.
Frontier did that for you?
Frontier did that.
Holy crap.
And then Rachel's over there sitting next to like whoever. She's like, "Why can't I get my own aisle?" I was trying to get her to come over, but
Well, you're
anyway,
basically a
with my
celebrity.
painting. Yeah, that was it was
No, but
weird.
I want to point that out. That was something that struck me at the beginning. And the other thing, I got to give you a little grief, because he like asked you something, and then he goes like, "What do you feel about being here?" or something like that. And you go, "It's weird."
It
And
is.
I'm like, "Great, George, way to start out a
Well,
kick-ass
everything's weird to
interview
me.
and just
It
calling
was
it."
really well because he was so
I
nonchalant,
just
right?
fucking with
He's
you.
like,
Yeah.
we were staying at, so when I went to his house, I went in and his wife Lee opened the door, and she like we've never really talked, but we sent each other Christmas presents, and like we've sent a couple of emails back and forth. And she like gave me this big hug and invited me in. She walked me into their kitchen, and they had set out this like buffet of
What?
snacks. Yeah, it was like the Midwest. I thought the South knew how to host, but no, it's the Midwest. Like literally like a buffet of like she had made little puff pastries. Like they were so good.
They were not messing around. They're like,
No,
this
and we
this interview, this is a major interview, and we're gonna bring it. It's like Time Magazine is coming in. They weren't gonna like get
yeah,
dissed for not putting
and
the
so we
killer
walked
spread
into
out.
John's studio. Like John was like, we sat and we talked and we bullshit for like an hour or whatever. And John's like, let's go get this interview out of the way. I was like, okay. So we walked into his studio and there's all the paintings. And he's like, come over here. And I was like, oh, okay. So I
No.
walked with, and then we were screwing with lighting and stuff. And I didn't even get a chance to look at these because he's just like, oh, whatever. And when we sat down, he's like, what's this like? And I was like, this is weird.
No, I thought it was hilarious. I'm like,
Yeah.
way to start the interview out by just saying you're this is weird. But yeah, I was what you did is you put me in the mindset of you. I thought it was cool. Like I would
Yeah.
be totally like
It's like, what do you do?
right dumbstruck and confused and like, okay, what do you guys what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think he did it to throw me off because it's like you're sitting there staring at all these things. You're like, what can I talk? What can I ask? What can I talk about? What
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
This is what interrogators do when they want to when they want to get information out of a person of interest is they throw you off your game and they put you
Yeah,
in
I
their
brought
little
some, like I brought some gifts for him that some people had sent. Like I posted a couple of videos, but people sent like 4 or 5 different things, so I was giving them to him, and he wanted to send stuff back to these people. So he's like sending me all over his studio looking for stuff. Like go over here and see if you can find this print, or go over. And so I'm rummaging through John Palancar's stuff. Like this is the craziest day of my life.
you're like sticking stuff in your pocket while you're
He's like there was this one print, it was a Stephen King print, and he's like, this is super rare, they only made like 15 or 20 of them, and I'm looking and they're like on his floor, and I'm like,
stop
what
this.
do I
This is
clean out John's
madness.
studio?
Dude, just leave me in here alone for an evening.
Yeah,
I'll clean it up and then you're just taking pictures of everything. I
yeah,
and you know, I have to back to remembering things and what we were talking about before. Like I'm kind of now pretty convinced that he doesn't really know like exact locations. I'm
no, he was
I'm
pretty he
pretty
yeah, he was pretty like that was something I think he wanted to get like bang home. Like
yeah.
he can get you to a general area. He can tell you what you need to really look for, but he like if you took him to a park and told him to dig up a cask, he couldn't do it.
He made that pretty clear when he said, "Well, Cleveland, I was there, you know, but I even turned my back when he buried it." But
Yeah,
like, he wasn't at the other places. So
yeah,
Byron's just taking Polaroids of like a flag and a stone walkway and a planter box and going, "Put this in somewhere," you
yeah,
know. And he's just doing this, and then you know probably he put something in, and Byron's like, "Oh, dude, that's totally going to give it away. Like, you got to." Cover that up and put some tape on it and put something else
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um,
Because
so
it does seem like he was given a lot of pieces. Like when he was talking about Boston, where he thought the home plate represented Green Monster because of the Green Tower of Lights or whatever in the verse. I think that's like what he was trying to say is I was given a bunch of pieces of the puzzle, but I don't know how the puzzle works. I don't know how to put these pieces together.